Hare Krishna. The only safe thing is to take a chance. Play safe and you are dead. Nichols. Normally, we think that taking a chance is risky and playing safe is risk-free. But life doesn't always work out according to our conceptions. And especially if we're considering life's ultimate questions, if we're considering exploring life's spiritual dimensions, then if we play safe, we think there are so many spiritual paths, there are so many spiritual teachers, there are so many spiritual books, there's so much that goes on in the name of this spirituality. I don't know what is right, I don't know what is wrong, better I'll not get into this business at all. And thinking like this, if we decide that I'm not going to explore this business, that may seem a safe way, but what is going to happen is we are going to end up dead. Because by not exploring a spiritual way of life, we are going to live a materialistic way of life. And the materialistic way of life ends only in one place, that is the graveyard. Now, death is a certain destination for every one of us. So, by playing safe, we are not actually safe. The world we live in is perilous. It is not only doomed in the sense that ultimately we are going to die, it is also dangerous. Any moment death may befall upon us. Any moment disaster may befall on us. So somebody may say, oh, that is the way life is. But is that the way life is meant to be? If we were just doomed to death and there was no alternative, then why would we have such a strong longing to live? And not just live, live forever. None of us wants to die. Yes, when our body becomes aged and decrepit, and at that time if we are suffering too much, we feel, let this end. But actually, we would much prefer to live and live on if we could have. So the point is, we see there is an innate longing for life enduring within us. And there is an inevitable frustration of this longing in the world around us. And this incompatibility is the cause of great misery. Now, why is this incompatibility present? Why? If this longing for life enduring is never meant to be fulfilled, then why is that longing there at all? So actually, the very presence of this longing can point to something non-material within us. Nothing material lasts forever, and yet we have a desire to last forever. That means this longing does not come from from the world around us, does not come from the level of matter. It comes from a higher stratum of reality. The Bhagavad Gita explains that at our core we are souls, and the soul is eternal. Currently the soul is misidentifying with the body, and because of this misidentification, it is going to undergo the nightmare of death. The soul is not going to die, but because the soul identifies with the body, because the soul is so attached to the body, that's why the soul is going to go through the nightmare of death. And at a bodily level, the event of death in terms of destruction of the body is inevitable. But for us as souls, the trauma of death is not inevitable. That is avoidable. How is that? If we can detach ourselves from the body, if we can raise our consciousness from the bodily level to the spiritual level, then the event of death in terms of bodily destruction will befall on the body. But our consciousness will not be invested in the body. Our consciousness will be higher in our spiritual self-understanding, in the security of our spiritual indestructibility. and thus we will not feel the trauma of death. So the important thing in this context is at least to be open-minded, to explore. We may say at this stage, who knows about the spiritual business? It may be true, it may not be true. Yes, even if we feel at this stage, I don't know about it. But at least there is a possibility. There is a possibility that we may be at our core spiritual, and we may be capable of raising our consciousness to the spiritual level by which we can transcend the trauma of death. If we don't explore this possibility, then what awaits us? What awaits us is the inevitability of death, the inevitability of the destruction of our self-conception. So actually, if we play it safe, we end up dead. Dead. We end up dead. So we need to have the spirit of being a spiritual adventure seeker. If we explore spirituality with a mood of inquiry, with a mood of having some courageous spirit of adventure, we'll find new vistas of meaning and joy opening for us within our own hearts and our heads. The Bhagavad Gita informs us that we are at our core souls who are indestructible, and it gives us the process of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga, which is an easy and efficacious way for raising our consciousness to the spiritual level. And raising our consciousness through bhakti to the spiritual level doesn't mean rejecting the material level. In fact, it means reviewing the material level as a part of the process of spiritualizing our consciousness. Whatever we do in this world, we can do that in a mood of positive devotional contribution. And in that way, we don't lose anything. Yes, we may lose some of the anti-devotional indulgences, but the devotional joys more than compensate for that. If we just open ourselves to devotion, and more than that, everlasting fulfillment, not just in the next world, but even in this world, fulfillment that is far deeper and richer than the gratification at the physical level that we might get by living materialistically. So by being willing to take risks, we can get eternal rewards. That is the adventure of spiritual exploration. Thank you. Hare Krishna.